Welcome, everybody. Joining me today, I have Kwangsoo Kim. He's a business owner, he's a mentor, he's a TEDx speaker. Kwangsoo, welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
I am super excited, really honored that I can be on your podcast. And it sounds like I'm going to have a really great time here.
I'm sure you will. Thank you. First, very easy question. Where in the world are you?
I'm in a town called Massapequa Park in New York, which is on the Long Island, about 35 miles east of New York City.
Brilliant. So anyone local, go and check out Kwangsoo after this podcast.
Yeah.
So you've done many things and you've had quite the journey. So let's start with where you are now. Gym owner, TEDx speaker, how did that come around?
Well, where I am, a bit of a journey. And, some people might say it took a couple of years, but I'm going to say it probably took about 50 years to get here, right? So I am a gym owner. I own a gym. I'm sitting in my gym at the moment. How I ended up here was, through just my own a story of transformation, body transformation, losing weight, getting more fit, and realizing that, I had a particular talent for helping people, and I'll call it the superpower I had is to actually help people and wanting to help people. And now I had the added benefit and the experience of having lost weight myself to, offer my experience to others. And I decided to become a fitness professional and open my own gym.
Amazing. And when you say you lost weight yourself then, so where were you at the start to get to where you are now?
Okay, so I'm going to say that as far as, being the weight I was, most people probably wouldn't think of me as being overweight, but I was at a state where I was very uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess in comparison to most people, probably not so bad, but I was about 10 pounds heavier than I normally am comfortable with, because for a person who's a very much into exercise and working out, it was not a comfortable place for me. And clothes were not fitting anymore. Just those 10 pounds on a smaller frame,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's when I made the decision to plan what I consider my comeback. And it took about 2 or 3 months to really plan it, and implement. And, that's when I started, January of 2017 is when I began my journey, nutrition and exercise.
Amazing. And I think it's actually really important what you say, because weight loss is one of those things we all, or nearly all of us, struggle with, right? It's a very personal thing, though, as you say. It's what one person perceives and you feel are very different. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that this is something based on how you're feeling, not necessarily what people are telling you, because sometimes we like to judge, don't we? But ultimately it comes down to the individual.
Yeah. Well, you like to judge other people, but you're very fast to judge yourself as well.
Yeah.
And I'm in a place where, I'm very happy with how I look, but I'm also very conscious of the fluctuations in my weight. And there's an internal governor that kind of goes off when I've gained 2-3 pounds. And, that tells me I need to be more mindful of my nutrition and exercise. And that's been one of the things that has really helped me to maintain a healthy weight and what I think to be a healthy look.
No, wonderful. And I again, with the mindful, well, the use of the word mindful, obviously it's quite trendy, but I think it's also really applicable, isn't it? Because often when we eat, when we do things, we are not mindful. We are, I eat at my desk a lot of the time, which I know I shouldn't do, but I still do because I'm always doing work. And that is when the control starts to go, because we're not thinking about it. So how did you introduce that into your life?
Well, I really was just unhappy with how I looked and felt. By being a lifelong fitness enthusiast didn't make me knowledgeable about losing weight. Now, most people at the time would have said, hey, he looks pretty fit. He looks like he works out. But the one thing I didn't know or understand was the nutrition part and how to truly lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
So when I gained that 10 pounds, I really didn't understand. So I decided, well, there's a science behind it. There's a reason other people do it. And I need to be intentional about how what I put in my body. So I did a lot of research. I also, took advice from online mentors, YouTube, reading a lot. And also some, people who I knew personally who actually were very fit and very lean. And I copied what they did too. And so when I implemented my new nutrition plan, first, let me just say, I had to make it very simple
Mm.
and easy to implement because I knew that if it was too complicated, I knew I would not stay on it. So I created a nutrition plan that was really easy to replicate every day, repeat, meaning meal prepping had to be easy. 10, 15 minutes of a week's worth of a meal, 30 minutes tops, you know, anything more than that, I just knew that I wasn't going to stay on it. So I created a plan for myself that really worked. On a Sunday afternoon, I probably spent no more than, I don't know, 30 minutes prepping for the entire week. Okay? And so January of 2017, I implemented my new nutrition plan and I just stuck to it every single day. I was very strict in the beginning. And in about 2 months, I had lost the 10 pounds I gained.
Wow.
But because it felt so good and because it was so easy, I thought, well, I'll just keep doing this because there's no reason for me to stop.
Yeah.
And over the course of the next 10 months, I lost a total of 25 pounds and ended up at a weight that I had not been in the nearly 35 years.
Amazing. Well,
So,
congratulations.
yes.
And one thing you said at the very start was your journey's being about 50 years. So you don't look like someone who's in their 50s, if I could say that out loud, but what did you do before this? Because I understand that you've had quite the journey even before you became a gym owner and losing the weight. So what were you doing before that and what happened there?
Sure thing. And I talk about this in my TEDx talk. When I was younger, um, I had these big dreams. I was going to do amazing things in the world. And then in my 40s, I came to the realization that I wasn't really doing awesome things, at least from my estimation.
Mm.
But let's go back a little further. At age 12, my father bought me a weight set which I put in my basement. And that started me on a path of falling in love with fitness and working out. So for my whole life, I worked out. I go to college, I graduate, not really knowing what I want to do. I kind of fell into the Wall Street life, which initially sounded really great. But I'm going to say within a couple of years, I ended up in the same place many other millions of people end up. And that's just being miserable in their career.
Mm.
And, but at the time, I really didn't see any other path. So I stayed in it. But along the way, I continued to kind of fall deeper into that state of being miserable, and money didn't solve that problem for me. You stay in a career because you make more money. And at some point, it didn't matter that I was making more money. It mattered, that I wanted to find some happiness. And in my 40s is when I finally came to the conclusion I had to make some changes. And, it set me on a path to what I call planning my escape. And while a lot of people in the corporate world, they take that traditional path, they work, they save money, they have children, they buy houses, they have cars, they keep upgrading. And within 10, 15 years, they're literally stuck in a certain path because just like I said, they bought the new cars, they have kids, maybe they have a second home, a vacation home, they buy more expensive cars, college, education, responsibilities, and all those things, and they become stuck. Well, I became
Mm.
conscious of not wanting to be stuck. So whenever I got a bonus or I got a pay raise, I was very conscious of not spending the extra money. Well, at least not all of it. So you want to upgrade your life a little bit, and we did, but I was very conscious of not uh, um, taking all that money and just spending it on upgrading. And 10 more years of searching for what I wanted to do, I finally decided that I wanted to be a fitness professional, and I had the resources because I didn't stick myself,
Yeah.
right? And sadly, people are stuck. And when I was leaving the Wall Street world, telling many of my colleagues what I was doing, and they were very, very, I'm going to say, envious and wanting to do something similar with their lives. And my response was, well, why can't you? And their response, 9 out of 10 times, was, I'm stuck.
Hmm.
I have kids. I have this. I have that. Well, to be honest, it doesn't matter, because you make a decision. You can decide to just take a different path in life, no matter how stuck you think you are. But people don't, because they're used to a way of living and they don't want to give it up. And I was fully willing to give it up to find some happiness.
I think that's brilliant. I also think the thing about what you've done that people probably need to understand is it wasn't anything amazing in the nice possible way. Like, you didn't win the lottery, you didn't have a side hustle, you just lived within your means and had a kind of future thought of, well, what could I do? And I think the thing that we often don't learn about money is how to handle it properly. The more we get, the more we spend.
That's right. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not the best manager of money. I'm really not. But what I was very conscious of was, if I got the bonus and I got the pay, I didn't just go out and just buy a new car. I always bought used cars,
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in the new car because it didn't matter to me. What mattered was, is it safe and is it going to take me from place to place? And there was a point where we bought a home, and then we decided to sell it. And I was very adamant with my family that I was not going to buy another home because in my mind, I knew what I wanted to achieve, and it was going to require money.
Mm-hmm.
And to buy another home would have taken me back another 10 years. And I was very, very determined not to let that happen. And this goes towards a lot of what I, hope to convey to people is that, changing your life has to be really, really intentional, and the ability to find happiness. It's not a magic trick. It really isn't. People think that they stumble upon something amazing, and the truth is, for me, I realized, wow, what I became was something that I kind of already had in me for my entire
Mm.
life, and that was fitness. Okay, what I had to discover was that I really loved helping people. Okay, and a lot of people don't realize they can help people too, using the thing that they do really well. And I was really very, much into fitness, and I realized I loved helping people. And when you put those two together, then you have something you can turn into a profession, you know. But a lot of people, and before I had my own personal weight issues, I never thought of fitness as a profession. I just thought it was like for people who wanted to be personal trainers, but I didn't think of it as a way to help people,
Mm.
right? I thought of it as, this is how you make money. But for me, changing my life and changing or creating happiness within my profession was really about helping people. And fitness was the avenue for me.
Do you think that your experiences on Wall Street or in that sort of world, did that, I guess, prejudice your thinking in the first place? Like you say, you went into the gym ownership thinking it's how to make money, but then you found actually it's about helping people. But if you're working in finance, and it is about making money. So Was there a shift that you had to go through to have that realization, or was it, as you said, it suddenly you realized this is what you'd wanted all along, and it was always there in you?
Well, I think people finding their purpose happens uh, when there's something really drastic and dramatic happens in your life. And for me, it was weight loss.
Hmm.
Okay. Losing 25 pounds for a person my height was really drastic and dramatic. And then what happened afterwards was what kind of drove me into it. It was that people saw my transformation and were really interested in what I had to say. They were really interested in my little journey, and they would ask me for help. And what I learned was that I really loved helping them. I was like, wow, not only do I love helping them, I'm actually pretty good at this. And so I believe that when people make a drastic, maybe a realization of their
Hmm.
purpose in life, you have to go through a very dramatic point of your life. I don't think you just stumble upon it. I think you discover it through um, maybe just being really sick of being sick of stuff, you know?
Hmm.
And that's where I was. I went through a period when I was just like, I didn't like the way I looked or felt. I went through a body transformation, and I feel like it's the steps that I took, people were really interested in what I had to say. And so
That's
and being able to convey that knowledge and help was really fulfilling for me.
I think I agree. I mean, people change for two reasons. They change to move away from pain or to go towards pleasure. But normally the pain is what gets you started, but the pleasure is what keeps you going, right? And that sounds like exactly what happened with you is there was pain, but then you went, actually, this is amazing. Let's keep doing
Yeah,
it.
I can't even describe it any better because the pain for me was like I'd gotten into a physical state I was very uncomfortable in. Then I went through transformation. And for me, yeah, the pleasure started out as me looking and feeling great
Hmm.
and with my perception of it. But even further, even more than that, the pleasure became, wow, people really can benefit from what I had to offer, and helping them made me really feel fulfilled.
No, it's amazing. Now, I did some research on you, obviously. Sadly, I don't speak Korean, but I think I saw you on a Korean TV show, right? Did that happen?
Yeah,
Or
yes,
yeah.
I appeared on a Korean TV show, and it was because of one of the goals I had set for myself um, early in late 2020, as I laid in bed for 2 weeks recovering from COVID.
Oh,
I'd made a decision that, you know, um, I'm going to recover from COVID. I'm just going to get in the best shape I could possibly get in. And I wanted to appear on the front of a fitness magazine to share what I have to offer. And through that, my good friend who lives and works in the industry in Korea thought that was a great idea. And he said, you know something? I want to do it with you. Your goals are my goals now. And we took this journey together and ended up being on a Korean TV show that featured both of us on our journey to losing more weight, getting in the best shape possible to appear on the cover of this magazine, which I'm going to share with you in a moment
uh,
right here.
oh, awesome.
And here it is right here.
Oh, look
So,
at that.
so this is me right here. And this is my
Wow.
friend.
Oh,
Well, I want to
congratulations.
tell you, and his name is Cha In Pyo, and
Champion.
he's a very, very well-known celebrity in Korea. He and I became very close friends in college, and he's the one that said, I've fallen off of my fitness wagon too, and you wanting this goal of being on the front of a magazine inspires me to want to get back into fitness and get in great shape too. And so he and I, from half a world away, we trained together
Amazing.
virtually, and we would support each other every single day on our path to appearing on this magazine.
Oh,
So
well,
for me, that was
yeah.
a culmination of other things that I realized that if you want something bad enough, you put it out there in the universe, and and you share it with the right people.
Mm.
Because sometimes you can share things with the wrong people. You share it with the right people, you can succeed in just about anything.
I completely agree. But that's such an amazing story and well done and congratulations for the hard work. But I think also what you've talked about, it shows the journey to get there. People talk about overnight success, but it's never overnight.
Never.
And I think the great thing about looking at the physical side of things is it really isn't overnight and it is a journey and it's that consistency and dedication and
Yeah.
finding the right one for you.
Sure thing. I mean, look, when I was young, like I said, in my 20s, I thought I was going to conquer the world and do amazing things. In my 40s, I found myself not doing any of those things
Mm.
and really feeling miserable, feeling like I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a path. All I had was a desire to do amazing things. But you go through these periods of depression, realizing I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then one day you
No,
discover it through, you know, going through a lot of pain. And then things like this happen
I mean,
because
it's such,
you finally discover your purpose. And through that, other amazing things happen because if you have the goal of truly helping people, you learn a lot of amazing things about other
yeah.
people and yourself. I became a TEDx speaker, and speaking as a person that spent most of his life with a very paralyzing fear of public speaking, the
Mm.
idea of a TEDx talk was an alien concept in my 30s. But here I am, after doing this, opening my gym, I thought to myself, I think I want to do a TEDx talk, and I think I would love it. And I did love it.
It's amazing. Now, do you only set goals that scare you a little bit? Because that's the impression I get.
Well, yes, I think that a goal that doesn't scare you a little bit isn't a goal that's worth having. Anytime you set a goal, it should be something that, that's going to really make you work hard for it.
Mm.
Goals, real goals create demands on your body, on your mind, and in your time. Money too. They just create demands. And any goal that doesn't create any sort of really, meaningful demand isn't really worth having at all.
I love
And
that.
what's the point? You
Yeah,
know?
no, I love that. I think that's a wonderful way of viewing it and also really true because goals should challenge us. You're right. And if they're not, then we're not
And
trying
and
hard
I
enough.
and I think what most people will find is, goal setting is great because it forces you to create a plan, right? And when you set a goal, it's not, oh, I want to lose weight, because that's kind of like wishing for things. A goal has to, they're talking about the SMART goals,
Yeah.
have a time frame involved, very specific, achievable. And I always gave myself a time frame. I want a specific thing by a certain time. And when you do that, boy, it puts a little pressure on you.
Mm.
And that pressure makes you create a plan. And sometimes you achieve those in the time frame and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it takes a little long. But without a specific plan, you're not going to get anywhere. And I'll also tell you that there are times when that goal changes as time goes by. Sometimes you have an even bigger goal, or you just decide, you know what, that goal's not even that important anymore. And that happens too.
Have you ever gone through a process when you haven't achieved the goal where you've been very self-critical about not
Yes,
achieving that goal?
absolutely. Many times I have a financial goal and I don't reach it. And then you just beat yourself up. You think to yourself, why am I such a loser? Like, you talk that way to yourself. If I had just done this and that over and over again, kept doing it, I would reach my goal. But then you take a step back. You have to give yourself a measure of forgiveness. Maybe you set new goals, maybe more reasonable goals, maybe create a more simpler plan. All these things are learning processes. And I've learned about myself is that I tend to set very high goals, and as well as a lot of very high goals. And I've trained myself to reach for high goals, but not too many of them. You know, achievable ones, but maybe two or three,
Hmm.
because then I can focus,
Yeah.
not five or six, because then you're all over the place and you're spread very thin.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really important lesson. We all, I think people try to do too much too soon or too much at once and then do nothing because that analysis overwhelm sets in. So two or three goals makes sense.
And that's kind of part and parcel of my personality. I took a personality test once, and it came out as a D. A D means like a dominant personality, and people with that type of personality tend to pack a lot of things in a short amount of time, thinking that they're going to achieve all those things, and the reality is they never give themselves enough time. You know, they they have all the great intentions of, like, you have all these meetings, you line it up like every hour on the hour, and you realize there's just not enough time to do all those things. So, and I'm
Yeah.
getting better at that, giving myself buffer, and a little bit of grace to, take time with certain things.
Uh, Again, really healthy advice. And then I think there's a lot of pressure, isn't there? It's a fast moving world now. The internet connects us, but it also throws so many things at us. And I found myself recently kind of having the same journey in terms of thinking I had to hit all those goals like by Christmas, I must do all these things. I'm like, actually, do you know what? I go to this dichotomy of I haven't got enough time or I have too much time. And so it's trying to find that balance of going, I'm here for as long as I'm here, but I've got to enjoy the journey. And that's taken me, I mean, I'm in my 40s. That's taken me to my 40s to learn that. I think some people don't ever learn that, and then they get stuck trying to do all the things and then never go forward and they get annoyed at themselves and they ask themselves why. So that
Yes,
advice, I think, helps them to get unstuck a little bit.
it's really easy to get stuck, and I'll share some advice that one of my mentors gave me to get unstuck when you feel sort of paralyzed because you have all these things, and you feel kind of like a failure because you've done all
Mm.
this work, and then you have all this other stuff you feel like you're never going to get done. He just told me one simple thing: action alleviates anxiety. Action
Mm.
alleviates anxiety. He said, list out a bunch of things, maybe 10 things. List out the easiest thing that you can do right now. And right after that, the next thing, and just do one thing at a time. You know, accomplish one thing, you'll feel a sense of success, go to the next thing and keep going. And you know something? He was absolutely right. So I was, I just listed out a bunch of things I needed to get done, the simplest things. It could be just organizing my office here. Okay. And then pay some bills. And then who knows what it is. And before you know it, you create this momentum. And then this momentum, you can't even stop. You just pick up speed. And before you know it, you're feeling great about yourself. You feel like a hero again, you know, and that took away the anxiety. And this is, that doesn't mean that I don't, go through that um, from time to time. I just have to remember, once again, action, it alleviates anxiety. Let's just start with the lowest hanging fruit, get some things done, have a feeling of success, and get some momentum.
Action alleviates anxiety. I think that should go on back of my car, perhaps. With your goals now, with your living the life that you want to have, what goals are you working towards at the moment?
Okay, so a lot, I have two daughters, and one is in college now, and uh, largely financial goals. Also, one of my goals is to just expand my profession into motivational speaking. Also, with regard to my gym here, scaling this business to the next level financially. And, all this requires intentional action.
Hmm.
And sometimes you have to pay for mentors to help you. Coaches need coaches too. I happen to be a
Absolutely.
coach, and I need a coach too. Mentors
I
need
think
mentors. And
we all do, absolutely.
yes, I've learned over time that no matter how much I think I've learned, I still need guidance
Mm.
from people who are much more successful than I am. And, that's really the key that has helped me get to at least where I am. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and financially or professionally.
But I love the fact that you're happy with the journey now, right? That's the difference. You have the plan, you have the way of living that you want, perhaps.
I did want to mention one other thing. You know, I work a lot. I wake up at 3:10 a.m. I work anywhere from 15 to 16 hours a day.
Hmm.
Even on weekends, I'm up very early. I'll put in maybe 8 to 10 hours on weekends as well. And a lot of my clients will sometimes ask me, why don't you just go home and relax sometimes? And I say to them, well, for a couple of reasons. One is that I really love what I do. I love being around you all. I love being a fitness professional. I love helping people. The second reason is, and I paint this and I don't want it to be a bleak picture. I want to help them understand why I do what I do. Is that at age 52, I left a pretty prosperous job on Wall Street, you know, giving up a nice salary.
Hmm.
I emptied out my bank account and my savings to start a gym. Not only do I have a mountain of debt now, I don't make a fraction of what I used to.
Mm.
Now, I'm 57 now. Okay. I'm trying to do in the next 10 years what people coming out of college have maybe 40 years to do.
Mm.
So then I ask them, how much time do you think I have to relax? And they say, obviously after that, they say, yeah, I understand. So, yeah. So I want them to understand that, one, working hard is something that's in my blood now, and not working hard is kind of like, you know, working hard actually makes me happy. And not working hard, I feel lazy. I feel kind of
Hmm.
not that happy. Yes, once in a while, I'll go on vacation. But even then, I always want to be active in some manner, thinking about the business and staying in touch with my business. But I think I don't want people to feel like they need to feel ashamed that they love working hard. Working hard I think, is having really hard work to do. I think is great. It gives you
Mm.
purpose.
It's funny you should say that because sometimes the internet likes to give you different opinions and beliefs, right? And
Yeah.
there's one opinion which is you should work as hard as possible, hustle, 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 and then you die. The other one is no, 4 hour work week and everything else. The thing for you, obviously, you have a family, as you said, you've left your life and started a new one, but you enjoy it. And so, is work work when you enjoy it? And some days I imagine maybe you do get a bit tired, but maybe not enough to go, I'm not enjoying this still.
You know, I want to talk about Tim Cook, the CEO of Microsoft. Excuse me, of
Yes.
Apple.
Yeah.
I think he mentioned something. You know how there's this statement: if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And
Yeah.
he flatly rejected that statement. He said at Apple, you will work harder than you ever have, but the tools will feel light in your hands. And to me, I work here harder than I've ever worked in my entire life. But because it's really part of who I am as a human being, I love helping people. It's
Hmm.
um, I have I believe, an ability to connect with people, and all these things come easy to me.
Mm.
You know, connecting with people, building relationships, helping people, uh, giving people that motivation is something that kind of comes easy to me.
It's
And it
wonderful.
is hard work. I'll tell you, it's hard work.
There's an expression I use a lot, which is all things are difficult before they are easy.
That's right.
And I think that is life.
Yes. And
So
I
what,
also say one other thing. I'm a big fan of the people in business who have been very successful. Oftentimes you're presented with opportunities, and sometimes you'll say you're not ready because you don't have the knowledge or experience or money. And Richard Branson once said, if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity and you're really not sure if you can do it, you just say yes and just figure out how to do it, you know? And so I
yeah,
actually take that really seriously, because now I look for opportunities, difficult opportunities, if they're in line with my goals. And then regardless of whether I know what the heck I'm doing, I figure it out along the way. Same as my TEDx talk. And I give you my example. In 2022, I had decided I wanted to do a TEDx talk. It was March of 2022. And I said to myself, my goal is to get my TEDx talk by June of 2023. June of 2023. I had no idea how I was going to do it. Literally had no idea. But that decision set me on a path of really hunting for a path. 6 months later, maybe 8 months later, I learned and realized I came upon a method um, to reaching that goal. And in fact, I had been offered and delivered my TEDx talk 1 month before my goal.
amazing.
And so I tell people, like, just because you don't know how you're gonna do it doesn't mean you shouldn't, have that goal. Don't wait
Mm,
until you're ready, because there's no such thing.
love that. Is if you had one thing that you wish people knew, or one or two things, what would those things be to get on in life? What do you think those should be?
Here it is, and this is how I changed my life. Everybody has a superpower, and guess what? You already know what it is. All you need to do is do some self-reflecting. I found my superpower, and it's been something that I was doing all my entire life. I just didn't realize I could use it to help other people. And I really do believe every every human being has one basic natural quality, and they want to help other people. I believe all human beings want to help somebody.
Mm.
It makes us feel fulfilled. Everybody feels a sense of fulfillment. And have you ever felt like you didn't care when somebody said, "Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much you helped me." Doesn't that feel amazing? So
Always.
you take that feeling and you find the thing that you're really talented at. It could be, I have a client, she loves to crochet. She posted on Facebook all the time. I'm like, that is amazing. You should help other people become as good as you are at crocheting, you know? But she doesn't see it as a way to make it into a
Mm.
profession. And I know that she could. And she just creates these amazing crochets. And I'm like, wow. And people are on Facebook are constantly talking about how amazing they are. But, hey, people have to decide their own path. And everybody has something that they currently do that they love, that regardless of their circumstance, they still find a way to do it. For me, it was fitness. No matter where I lived, who I was with, one of the things I didn't compromise on was where I was going to work out, where I was going to, you know, uh, spend time working on my own fitness. Okay? What I didn't realize is I could use it to help people.
Mm. Thank you. Everyone has a superpower. And if you're around New York, go and find Kwang Soo to help you find yours, or at least get fit in the process. Uh,
That's right.
Kwang Soo, thank you ever so much. It's been really interesting, truly amazing by all the work you've done, and I can only see it going to greater heights in the future. But thank you so much for your time.
Well, Felipa, this was really, really amazing. I'm really honored that you allowed me on your podcast, and just knowing that your podcast is about people like me and life transformation and finding your purpose. I couldn't wait to be on this show.
Thank you.